Welcome to episode 2 of Beyond the Barracks. Today we'll kind of be talking about some college experiences and transitioning out and kind of using your GI Bill and stuff like that. So
yeah, also be talking about some mental health stuff and kind of some resources that we used and stuff like that. I almost called this the Homer Scrub podcast. I am very hungover right now.
That's fair. What'd you get into last night?
Some of my neighbors, we went to Ramblers and we went out to like the Boxcar in Durham.
Oh, okay.
Way cooler than the Raleigh one. Dude,
my hot take is that I like the Raleigh one better. So I don't know.
What about it? I don't understand. What do you like about it more?
Just it's smaller and like I don't know. Just it's always more crowded and more fun at the Raleigh one. I feel like for playing games and stuff. I don't know.
See, dude,
that's my take. Take it or leave
when you're a fucking lethal weapon like me, dude, crowds freak you out.
Can't have my back to the door.
I just walked around the perimeter of the place the entire time. All right.
Drink in hand, eyes locked on every single person going through. Yeah.
Head on the swivel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your service, by the way.
All right, speaking of scrubs, let's get into Homer Scrub.
So we'll start this one off. I got Paul Meyer was a 23-year-old U.S. Air Force mechanic stationed in England. All right. He was denied leave to visit his wife in the U.S. and was struggling with stress and homesickness.
Nah, he just wanted pussy.
Yeah. But so one night, he got fucking plastered drunk. He impersonated an officer, talked his way onto the flight line, and stole a C-130 Hercules, a massive military transport plane. Everyone should be aware of what C-130 is. Yeah. He actually took off and flew for about an hour.
He's piloting it.
He's piloting it drunk, impersonating an officer by himself in a C-130.
Yo, these things must be a lot easier than I think to fly.
I mean, I feel like planes in general. I got Microsoft Flight Simulator, dude. I can do it. But yeah, so he steals the C-130. He's trying to fly home to see his wife. Like, I don't know where the fuck he's going to land. Like
West.
He's got a compass and he'll figure it out. But so he took off, flew for about an hour west, and he ended up crashing in the English Channel. So I did some more digging on this, and they actually, so like he didn't survive, but so parts of the plane wreckage like washed up on the English shore and stuff.
Yeah.
But they actually never found the wreckage until 2018.
And this happened when again?
This was in 1969.
Damn. It's crazy the lifespan of the fucking C-130.
Yeah, right? Like, we jumped those in...
That was my favorite aircraft.
C-130?
Yeah.
You're smoking crack,
I hated the C-17.
What?
You have to stand on that platform when you get out, and I just feel like, I don't know.
Adds that weird extra thought of I don't want to do this.
And then they would always tell you, jump farther because if your pack tray hits, and I would just think of my pack tray hitting that fucking thing.
Did you ever do a Chinook jump?
Yeah.
Those were pretty tight.
They were tight. Yeah, remember we did
way less scary in my head anticipating that, dude. I was like, I'm not going to want to jump off this. But like you just walk off and it was fine.
It's a long, you're everyone's first jumper basically.
Yeah.
Kind of just staring out the doorway.
But yeah, so back to Homer Scrub. Or we call him Mr. Paul Meyer. By the way, he was 23 years old when he did this too.
And he was a E1, E2,
E3? Airman first class. I don't know.
E3. I think that's E3.
Probably E3.
I mean, 23 and an E3. Loser.
He tried college for a little bit. I don't know.
He didn't cut it in community college.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he's a homie.
Homie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I don't need any other context. I think he's badass for doing that. And he
died a legend.
May he rest in peace.
R.I.P.
How sick would it be, though, if you're his wife, you walk outside and there's your husband just crashes a fucking C-130 in the front yard.
Big explosion. He's walking out of it, dude.
Yeah.
He's getting laid.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I think it's pretty gangster. In fact, he did it drunk too and got the thing off the ground, and flew for an hour. I'm impressed.
That was probably the number one story I've ever heard of that until, and I'm talking just chronologically, until, remember that guy in Seattle or Portland that stole the plane?
Yeah, he went viral. The flight logs of him viral. Yeah. He was like, I'm going to do a barrel roll and then I'm going to put this thing into the ground.
Yeah. They're telling him hey man, just land it. He's like, I don't think so. I don't know how to land it.
Yeah, dude. It's a pretty ballsy move to he really must have been down bad though to
Yeah.
He must have had some shitty fucking E5 above him that was just roasting him all day.
Oh, you're talking about the Air Force guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, either way,
yeah.
I call him. I grab a beer with him, hear him out.
Yeah, I get a beer with him for sure.
Alrighty. So, today we're talking about college and stuff.
Yeah.
You are our resident college expert. So,
hell yeah.
Give a little bit of backstory. So you took a couple different routes. So you started in community college, transferred to Clemson, tried a couple different degrees.
Yeah.
And then you even somehow managed to work your way up to being the president of the Veterans Club there. So
yeah. So I got out and I went to community college first because I was not a good student in high school. I barely graduated, and I was like, I need a fucking refresher on some of this shit. And so I went to community college first, which I highly recommend. I paid out of pocket for it because I wanted to knock out the first 2 year.
Save some GI Bill too.
Save it if I wanted to get a graduate degree. So I did that, and then ended up transferring to Clemson. As far as community college goes, dude, they are trying to keep you at community college. I did not know that until a year.
What do you mean by that?
So the counselors and advisors I spoke to were always like, no, you need this and this and this. And I'm like, well, I'm talking to the Clemson people, and they're saying I only need this.
So they're trying to make it kind of scare you out of.
Exactly. They want you to graduate with a 2-year degree and then transfer. Whereas I didn't get my AA. I transferred early. I think I was a year and a half at Wake Tech, and then I fucking figured it out.
Well, I bet they get certain funding and stuff for graduation numbers and stuff too.
It's nothing malicious, but so I did that. There's a ton of grants. I got a shit ton of grants because I was in a lucky situation. I was living at my parents' house, but I didn't get claimed by them. So I was well below the poverty line, so I was getting grants. I was getting grants left and right.
Well, how did you find those grants? Did you just...
So a lot of them were kind of automatic, but then I did some research and talked to people, and you talk to community college, just Google it. And then, and I'm not talking Pell Grants. This was state grants at community college.
Okay.
When I got to Clemson, though, so the beauty of the GI Bill is that you can go to any school, and any public school, and typically you will automatically get in-state tuition. Most schools will honor that, which doesn't, because otherwise you might have to pay out-of-state a little bit, the GI Bill doesn't cover. Yeah. So I transferred into Clemson. I get in-state tuition, and I also applied for FAFSA. I got the Pell Grant.
Yep.
That's $7,000 a year.
Yeah, dude, I got that. So, I took a couple college classes while I was still in the Army using tuition assistance. Mm-hmm. And I applied for the Pell Grant. Dude, I got paid money to take classes while I was in the Army. I was like, this is sweet.
Yeah.
But, so those grants, now... I honestly don't know. So are those used do they just write you a check? Do they write the check to the school?
Yes. So I'll talk about, it's kind of the same with the state ones, but I'll talk about the federal Pell Grant because that will probably apply to most people.
Okay.
But basically, you fill out the FAFSA form. It's kind of like doing your taxes in a way. But you fill that out, and what happens is the GI Bill pays for your tuition, and then you get a credit of, I got $3,500 a semester basically.
Okay.
So I would see a credit for $3,500 on my Clemson account, and then that would get transferred into my bank account.
Okay, so government pays it to Clemson. Clemson then refunds extra straight to you.
Yeah, because the Pell Grant gets applied. It's a credit.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, you have a credit on your balance. Yeah, dude, and that was the Pell Grant. I could have done scholarships. I didn't apply for any scholarships or anything like that because I was like, I feel like I'm really like taking advantage of the system if I do that.
Well, I mean, I don't think. I think that's a big thing people struggle with is like you feel like, wow, this is too easy. I feel like I'm, scamming the system. But, dude, there's so many people out there taking advantage of government programs and stuff. Like, I'm a big advocate of while you're in school and don't have the income, I say go for it, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
no, honestly. But, I mean, I did get other grants while I was at Clemson for, like, my specific degree. Like, I don't know why, but I didn't even apply for it. Someone put me in for this grant, and basically they just like gave me like $2,000, just like off the cup. Yeah, which is pretty much where I got all my beer money was from these. It was like subsidized by the government.
So applying, we'll rewind a little bit here.
Okay.
So when you start community college, what did that application process look like?
You can do it online. I'm a big proponent of going in person and fucking talking to people because I need it spelled out to me. But basically, I talked to the people. I had to do like an entrance test for Wake Tech.
Okay.
To basically see where I was at, and that would determine like my math levels and shit like that. And so, did that. Kind of got placed in like a whatever math level you're at. It's basically just math is what they're trying to figure out how. Where you're at, but do that, and then you kind of look at the brochure of different like degree paths and classes to take, and you can either look at that at Wake Tech and see what kind of associate degree you want to get or certificate you want to get, or what I did is I knew I wanted to go to like Clemson, UNC Chapel Hill, Duke, and App State was like my backup, but so I kind of looked at like. Originally, I wanted to do finance, so I looked at the finance things, and I saw what transferred to what. Duke kind of got immediately kicked out because, one, the GI Bill didn't cover it, and two, I would have had to redo all of my fucking shit. So
basically start from scratch.
Yeah. So private schools are a little different, but a lot of public schools will have, like, if you have your degree and you, like, Clemson had, like, its own little thing where you could put in what classes you had taken at Wake Tech, and then you could choose your degree program that you want to take at Clemson, and then it will like show you which of the classes actually transfer.
Oh, nice.
And a lot of colleges do that.
Did a lot of them transfer?
Yes, thankfully.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I was like a finance at Wake Tech, finance at Clemson to start out, and then I transferred to construction development and planning, and that was that's just like. It's like half civil engineering, half like business degree. So they covered all the business stuff.
Nice. Now, did you use your Army transcript? Because I don't know the specifics of it, but I know you can take your schools and your time in the Army and your qualifications and transfer that. Like you can get a transcript.
Right.
Did you use that at all? And did any of those courses transfer, if you remember?
For me personally, no.
Okay.
Because infantry, I mean, you don't really, not really transferable skills for college. Yeah, I guess. But I had like Matt, perfect example. He was a nuke in the Navy. Yeah. So he had like a lot of like shit that actually transferred. He's a mechanical engineer now, so he actually had a lot of shit that like covered him.
That's awesome.
But you need to talk to most big colleges, and I highly suggest if you're going to choose a college, look into what colleges have a large military population and like a healthy, like we called ours in Clemson, military veteran engagement, because they're going to be your main resource of like, here's how I get like shit, my past job in the military to apply to my degree. This is how I'm used to using the GI Bill and applying for that, and like this is like the best way to go about it. Because that's what I did at Clemson, and like they made everything so easy. For me, I was super lucky with that.
Nice. So, what kind of so you would just go straight into like reach out to people in the veteran organizations there, and you can find their info online and kind of call them up and just say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And they were pretty receptive to.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like, any public college it's a government job, so you can kind of see all their information's available. So I would call them up, and then I drove out to Clemson and I set up a meeting just to like tour the campus and then like talk to the because we had regular advisors at Clemson, and then we had like military advisors, which was nice because they would help you with your GI Bill and other shit.
Nice.
So colleges like, I think USC, South Carolina, is similar. I know Syracuse is a big military school. Florida, maybe. Most of the SEC schools are pretty big military schools. Like they're like good.
Yeah.
They take care of vets. It's when you start getting into like Ivy League. Like, I'm interested to see when we have Yago on, like what his experience was.
Because he went to what? Where did he go?
Actually, no. He went to Columbia. Columbia has like a huge military heritage.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the vets from World War II went to Columbia afterwards. Yeah. I think of all the Ivy Leagues, if you want to go to Ivy League and you're a veteran, go to Columbia.
Become an investment banker.
Watch American Psycho every night.
Wolf of Wall Street, American Psycho, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Sick. So what do you think was like, what went according to plan and then what did not? Like what kind of, and I'm throwing this at him on the spot, so. Yeah. So what do you think, like, applying to colleges went like, okay, that's kind of how I thought it would go. Mm-hmm. And then what went like, holy shit, like that was way different than I was expecting.
Yeah. For me, it was, everything kind of went according to plan. I was like, I had a 4.0 when I was at Wake Tech because I was like, yo, I like don't want to fuck around. Because I was living with my parents. I was like, I need to get out of here. So that was very motivating. So when I applied to Clemson, I got in. They see here's another thing. If you have a shitty GPA and the college sees that you have GI Bill, like guaranteed dough, like you're getting in.
Okay.
So I knew a couple, mouth breathers who got into Clemson who probably, shouldn't have, but they had the GI Bill, so they got in.
Adam, dude.
Yeah. So like,
call him out.
But so that kind of went according to plan. Getting in, getting all my GI Bill set up was relatively easy because they had a good program for like helping you out and stuff. I'm trying to think. You need your certificate of eligibility. That's a big one, just like we do with our job.
Yeah.
So you need your COE for college to, make sure you have it, and then set up your bank account just like you would with anything else. The only thing that didn't go according to plan that was surprising to me is that, like, whatever degree program you choose, the GI Bill will only pay for that. So if you have, like, an elective.
Oh.
And I knocked out all my electives because of Wake Tech.
Yeah.
So, like, there was, like, a fly fishing class. I wanted to take it. And
that would have been dope.
Yeah, I couldn't take it, though, because I had all my electives, and it would have been like, whatever the price is. But
do they pay for any electives up to that point, or just no electives? Like if they're needed for...
Yeah, if they're needed, then yes, they'll pay for it.
But any extra classes you're on your own for.
Right.
Okay.
And then there's something with like... it's like if you fail a class, I can't remember exactly how that works. I wish I knew, but if you like fail a class or something, like you might have to repay for it or some shit like that. But I've never heard of anyone having any trouble with that because my buddy, he failed a class like 2 or 3 times. It was like a really tough like engineering class.
Yeah.
And I don't think he had to pay for it.
Well, I feel like most things, if you work with the people at the VA, I feel like, they have their way of doing things, but most people are human.
Yeah.
Like, if you're cool with them.
True.
I feel like generally people will try to help you out.
Yeah.
I feel like if you go in there like, what the fuck?
Yeah, true.
No one's going to help you. But
a lot of dudes and ladies go in there pretty aggro.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think, what else? So if you are in person, you get higher BAH.
Okay.
And it's based off this school, not necessarily if you're like living in Greenville. Like my BAH was based off Clemson, but I was living in Greenville.
Okay.
Yeah, so
living close to the school helps unless it's cheaper outside.
It has nothing to do with.
No, I'm saying like you're getting paid for the school rate,
right?
So like it's probably balanced to that cost of living.
Yeah,
I'm sure Greenville may have been a little more expensive than Clemson.
Yeah.
How was classes? Like taking classes, going from the Army and then starting classes?
For me, it was like, math. I forgot how to fucking do math for a while. So that was like tough to get back. But then by the time I got to Clemson, like I was doing well. And like I did, the highest I got was like statics, which is like, I don't even fucking know.
Statistics?
No, statics. It's
There's
like
a difference.
Yes, exactly.
You can tell I didn't go to college.
Yeah. No, I mean, taking classes wasn't bad. I honestly felt like Clemson was like, I think I can't tell if it was because I was in the swing of things or what, but like, I just felt like I was got into a groove when I was at Clemson, and I would just, I'd always like knock out my shit when I was supposed to, kind of stay ahead of the curve, and then I had no problems. I always had free time going out on the weekends and shit, and like,
okay,
yeah, never really had to. The worst part was like group projects. Like I was a bit of a, I would freak out a little bit because people would not pull their weight, and nothing was more insanely annoying than that. Like I bitched out a couple of group members before.
Who would have thought, dude? I could imagine, like just thinking of myself here, like back in high school, I was probably that scumbag that was like group project, let the smart girl next to me just do all the work. Yeah, like, put my name on there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I definitely raged on a chick for not doing something. No, but yeah, classes were chill. I took advantage of the tutors. So that's another thing. The GI Bill will pay for tutoring.
Oh, okay.
So if you need tutoring, I took advantage of it mostly because the tutors were cute. But I also took advantage of it because I needed it, especially for fucking physics. Like, bro, physics is the dumbest shit ever.
Physics?
Physics. Talking about how magnets work and stuff. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, dude.
Way over my head, dude.
Yeah, we barely even got in outer space, and I was like, yo, what the fuck, dude? That was the only C's I ever got in college were physics 1 and physics 2. Because I was like, it's like, fuck this class, dude. This doesn't make any sense.
Well, isn't like, I mean, this is going to show my lack of education, but isn't it a lot of like theory and stuff too that's not necessarily proven? And you're like,
it's bullshit.
I'm a very black and white kind of person.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if I do this. If this happens, this. But like math, I love math.
I love math too.
I can find the answer.
Yeah.
And if I don't find the answer, I fucked up somewhere along the line.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, physics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Confuses the fuck out of me.
Yeah, exactly. Physics is.
I think I got a D in high school in physics. So.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I did, dude. Chat GPT 1 came out when I was still had like an English class.
Fuck,
huge. Huge. Dude, it was incredible. And that is one thing that was pretty funny. Matt and I had the same English class. And, dude, that was so much fun.
Is that where you guys met?
No, we'd known each other prior. So we went into that class being boys. And so we just fucked around the entire time. And we're both like basically 30, like in this fucking class of 20-year-olds. And like, but it was hilarious because our teacher was like super liberal, like, all English professors are liberal, but she was super liberal, very nice. But I mean, she's wearing a mask like a year after they said you don't have to do it anymore. And like,
dude, I still see people wearing masks, which like, to each their own.
I think it's just ugly chicks.
Jesus, dude.
I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, that was so in English class. That was fun. Is like pretending to be liberal. Like I would pretend to be so fucking liberal in English class. Just to get an A, and dude, it worked every single time.
I hate that worked, dude. I hate that worked.
I loved it because I was like, I'm such a
playing
wolf.
Your professor, huh?
I'm such a wolf in sheep's clothing right now. Like, me and Matt would have like a competition of like who could be like more like obnoxiously like liberal. And listen, nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with being liberal, but it's just funny to be like so over the top with
playing devil's advocate too.
Yeah, like calling out other students, be like, yeah, I thought that was like a misogynistic take. It's like it's a chick saying it. Dude, it was.
You should
so
check
fun.
yourself.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of sorry. That was a big tangent.
So you got very involved at Clemson.
Yeah.
So walk me through how how that worked, how you got involved, and like what that kind of led to.
Yeah. So originally, I needed a job for like supplemental income, and so I started working at the Military and Veteran Engagement as like a work study, which you could just do your homework and then you just answer the phone, like sat out by the desk, but you get to hang out with everyone.
Okay.
So originally I got involved like that through that. And I was a member of the SVA first, Student Veterans of America. It's like a social club for veterans.
Yeah.
Highly recommend joining that. You meet a lot of cool people. And while I was at Clemson, the head of MVE, Military Veteran Engagement, is like one of the advisors, and he saw I had like a 4.0. And so he was like, hey, man, he's like, we need someone to become president of the Student Veteran Honor Society. Will you do it? And I was like, fuck it, sure. Like, it'll look good on a resume.
Yeah. Did you have to campaign? Did they
No,
know?
they literally just gave it to me. They're just like, you're the new president.
Bullshit, dude.
Yeah, I know. But, yeah, so I joined that club. Matt was the president of the SVA. Matt is a stud when it came to, like, dude, clubs like that. They won SVA of America, like, of all the SVAs in the entire nation for colleges.
Wow.
His group won, like, number one.
Dude, I love that dude.
Yeah.
I still can't get over I won't blow him up for that, but the fishing trip.
Dude,
him.
That's going to happen again in Bryson City.
Oh, I hope so. It was a good time. Dude,
He,
and then the next day he's like, what, dude?
Yeah.
Like,
why
does everyone keep asking me if I'm okay this morning?
Yo. But, yeah, so Matt was like, he kind of set the tone and standard for these clubs, and they were doing cool events and stuff. I'm in charge of the fucking nerd club, and I'm like, all right, how do I get involved in this? So my thing was like, I started doing like resume building shit, workshops, like having people come in to like, talk about what it was like to pass an interview, and I got funding for the group first time in its history, and so that was all. I kind of got really acclimated to like the politics of being in a club. Dude, it is literally politics. It is hilarious. I won so many awards I've never fucking heard of that are not real awards at that thing.
Are they on your resume?
No, absolutely not.
Dude, you're slacking, dude.
I have like plaques in there somewhere. Like I'm never hanging this up. I got the Rising Star Award.
You gotta hang them all up, dude.
Absolutely not. I might auction them off somewhere. But, yeah, anyways. So, got super involved with, it's called Salute Student Veteran Honor Society. Did that for about a year, passed that off to someone else. And then I wanted to get involved in another club that was more in line with what I was doing. So I became the outreach officer for ABC Club, Association of Builders and Contractors. Okay. Very specific. So I would set up site tours, again, resume building, like how to build a resume for if you want to be a superintendent or a project manager or a real estate developer, like, and just reaching out to those people. We got to tour like kind of like a similar project to this, where it was like an abandoned mill that they turned into a
apartment
complex.
Nice.
And but the benefit of this is like you get insane networking when you're a part of a club, like so social and professional.
How could, like, say someone's transitioning out of the military, they're, like, starting their application process and stuff. They get accepted somewhere, their first day of school, they're showing up, they don't fucking know anybody.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to them?
I would say...
or better phrase that, where would you lead them to get involved with something like that? Okay.
I mean, there's a couple different options. Like Google, number one, easily Google stuff. We did something called Tiger Prowl? It was something. There was a dedicated day, and most colleges do this. where it's like a job fair where they just have everyone out, all the different clubs out. That's how I became a part of the fly fishing club. They have all the clubs like have a little booth, and they have, you know, people that, like members that are there. You can walk around and talk to the different clubs. I did that. I just talked to people in my classes. We're just like, yo, what are some clubs?
Yeah,
they're cool.
How hard was it to connect with people, like off the rip?
It depends.
Like, I know you're a very social person, but like,
oh, you mean like just regular people?
Well, like, I mean, it's got to be like in the Army when you show up, fucking.
Yeah, can I get one of those?
Yeah. Here. When you show up your first day in the Army, you're fucking put into a group. You're fucking shuttled around everywhere. You fucking are living with these people 24/7. Like, it's very easy to fucking connect with people. You're kind of forced to.
Yeah.
So when you started at Clemson, you'd show up. Like, what kind of advice do you have for people to get connected? Like, kind of take that initial leap out there and make some friends. Like,
yeah, I would say most of my friends from college I all met in the Military Veteran Engagement Center. So I worked with Matt, I worked with Giff. That's how I met them.
Okay.
Trevor, again, yeah, Trevor and I got to Clemson around the same time. And Trevor's pretty. I don't think you've met. Yeah, you met Trevor. He's the guy with the German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another. He's pretty social.
A badass dog too.
Yeah, Ghost. He's cool. I would say, you know, if you're a veteran and you're in college, try and seek out a veteran group. That's a great way to connect. It's just like showing up to the barracks where it's like you all have that kind of common interest. But also, too, man, when it comes to the students, depending on your age, it's a little different. You know, you can meet people in classes after a while, like, because you kind of are in the same classes with the same people once you get into your program. Once you become like a sophomore, junior, senior, basically, like junior and senior year, like you're kind of around the same people. So I made a lot of friends through that, just, you know, seeing them, you know, sharing homework and shit and like studying together. So I would just like, you know, make yourself available, I would host like UFC fights at my place.
Okay.
And like make freshmen beat the fuck out of each other. No, I'm just kidding. No. Yeah. So you just have to like put yourself out there. It's a little awkward being older, but most people are like, you have an interesting. You're in the military. It's an interesting backstory. But join clubs. You know, just don't be like, I'm a fucking, you know, I'm a veteran, and like don't lead with that. You're just a person.
Yeah, go in there humble and
exactly.
You know,
people are very, you know, everyone's in the same spot as you. I mean, you got fraternity and like the Greek life, which they already have their own friends. But like for me, dude, I was friends with a couple of the frat dudes, and like they were cool. Like they were very chill.
Yeah.
So
nice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what do you think if you had to go back and with what you know now, is there anything you would do? Not necessarily differently, but is there something you wish you knew going in?
I would have, if I could do it again, for me it was a little bit different because it was COVID, but I would have joined the lacrosse team. They had like a club lacrosse team.
Okay.
I would have just I was poor, so I was like, I would have just bit the bullet and bought like pads and a new stick and shit.
Okay.
My dad got rid of all my stuff, but dickhead. But
I played in the
box lacrosse league. Hell
box lacrosse league here for a little bit.
Yeah,
that was fun. We'd all grab beers after. Some dudes were drinking Deering, but dude, how much fucking running is in lacrosse? I forgot.
Dude, you forget about it. Yeah,
bro, my first time there, dude, I was like, like I thought I was in good shape still. Yeah. I was like, nah, dude. There's high school kids just running laps around us. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, dude. See, that's why I played goalie. I didn't want to run.
That's fair. Fuck that though, dude. That hurts.
You know, the only other thing I would have done differently was not get into a serious relationship during college, so I could.
That's fair.
Hang out with more ladies, but yeah, I met my ex like a year into it, and half of that was during COVID. So. Damn. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she was cool.
Yeah, she was cool. I don't regret that. I'm just teasing. And if she sees this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for saying that about you.
Yeah. No, she was cool. Yeah, I think I think you had a pretty good, just from my perspective, because like we've known each other from the Army. I was still in the Army while you were going through all this for the most part, and then when I got out, you had just become the president of the veteran organization. Right. Was about the time, because I remember me and Ski came up to, what was it, the Veteran Appreciation football game or something you got us tickets to. Yeah. That was such a cool experience for me to see, like, because I never had those experiences or anything, you know, other than my dad being a huge college football fan growing up and taking us to games. But, like, going with you to that tailgate, the veteran organizations there have the coolest tailgate in the whole fucking school. They were right out front of the stadium. Yeah. And they had live music. Fucking Chili Dog was that his name? Chili Dog. Yeah. Chili Dog was playing his guitar, dude.
He's drinking his beer while he's playing the guitar.
Yeah. Dude was a fucking champ, and then he went viral like the next week for his
DUI.
But it was a cool experience, dude. It was cool to see like kind of the opportunities that opened for you. There. So it was.
Yeah, and that's my biggest piece of advice. My overarching piece of advice is there is so much shit at your disposal as a veteran in college and in life in general. Do the research and look into it. Talk to people and see what's available. Half the stuff I learned about was through talking to Matt, my buddy Ross, my buddy Trevor, Giff, talking to them, talking to other people, just being curious about the opportunities that are available for you. Because I got grants. I got the fucking free tickets to football games, like free tickets to do you ever get to come to the snowboarding trips that they would do?
No, but I remember hearing about them.
Yeah, dude, crazy. Like, that was Upstate Warrior Solution. But, like, there's just so much stuff. Like,
we need a ski kayaking trips, dude.
Yeah, we do.
Off topic, but
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good takeaway, dude. Take every opportunity you can.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, too, like, outside of college and stuff, taking advantage of opportunities opens more doors and more opportunities.
Yes.
And really putting yourself out there, which is tough for people. Yeah. You know, it's tough for me to always be like, oh, fuck, dude, like, I just want to lay in bed today, you know?
Yeah.
But you never know what will come of stepping out and taking a chance on going to an opportunity for something and trying out, or, you know, whatever it may be. But
so for you, because I never used TA, but for you, how was that? Like, what was that experience like with like using TA and like, because I remember you were gonna go PA route or something. You were gonna do.
Yeah.
So what was that like? And like, what do you think that like? Is that something beneficial? Is that something you would recommend?
Yeah, I mean, kind of alluded to it earlier with it all, but so I knew I was gonna eventually get out. My ex-wife was in college and applying to law schools. Right. And so I was kind of looking at it, thinking of what I wanted to do, you know, and I had no fucking idea.
Right.
Like, no idea. So I started finance, actually, was what I did first. And so
we're finance bros at heart, unfortunately.
Yeah. And currently working in finance. So but so started looking at kind of different online colleges and stuff, and I saw Penn State had a Penn State World Campus. Highly recommend.
That's sick that they do that.
Yeah, and dude, I'll be real, like, you don't feel like you went to Penn State. I mean, I only took fucking like 5 classes, but they do a really good job of, before you start your online classes, you're taking like orientations. You're taking online classes about Penn State. Like, they're making you feel a part of the community, which I think is good. And so, rewind a little bit, but getting tuition assistance set up was really not too hard. I was at Fort Bragg, and thank God it's Fort Bragg again, but I was at Fort Bragg, and there's an education center there, and they have counselors, and I would just walk in there during my lunch and be like, hey, I'm trying to get tuition assistance set up. What do I need? And some old lady would just like be like, oh, okay, fill out this form and this form and this form, and then you can apply to colleges, and then once you get accepted, you submit these forms to them and like all this stuff. And there's a portal you log in on and stuff, but they help walk you through it. So I think if you're looking to, there's a ton of info online about how to do it.
Okay.
But also every base should have an education center.
Yeah.
And
there's that guy helpful on Instagram. It's John Lynch, I think is his Instagram handle, that talks a lot about benefits, like military benefits. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, he's a good follow for sure. But and I'm sure too, like if you had asked around in your unit, like there's someone that was doing TA. I know a lot of guys did TA.
Well, I actually helped quite a few people. So, and it was kind of I was scheduled to start in January, like the first week of January.
Okay.
Well, that year, it was 2020, and my unit got deployed to Iraq on New Year's Eve. And so I was supposed to start classes the next week. And
email your professor?
Yeah, literally, dude. So the first week, we were kind of like on edge, like, what are we doing here? Like, because it was right when we blew up the Iranian general and stuff. And so we're like, oh, fuck, are we like going to World War III or war with Iran? Real tense after about a week.
That was 2020?
That was 2020.
Damn, Trump really blew up that general, and it was like, peace out.
Yeah, dude.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so we just hung out, and like after a while, we were kind of just sitting on base all day, and I was like, well, I'm gonna see. I hate sitting doing nothing. Like that'll drive me more nuts than anything else. And like honestly, it was a stressful time too, because we didn't know what the fuck was going on, dude. I was stressed.
And I was here.
Yeah, like it was a lot. And so for me, I kind of took that time. I was like, you know what? I'm going to see, while we're not really doing a whole lot, I'm going to see if I can do these classes. I was good buddies with I was in the sniper section then. And so in HHC, the HHC first sergeant he was a very good mentor. He was actually one of my first platoon sergeants, but he kind of hooked it up and was like, yeah, dude, whatever you need, just focus on your classes. Like,
was that Kindle?
No, it was fucking Billy. Why can't I not remember his last name?
I know what you're talking about. He was a combatives dude.
Yeah. I'll probably cut that out of me guessing on his name. But
I can see his face right now.
I loved him.
He had a hairy back.
I know his first name, which says a lot about what kind of leader he was too.
He's a first name guy.
Yeah,
he was chill as fuck. I didn't know him very well, but like me and him, for whatever reason, had like a good relationship.
Dude, anytime he was young too. He was like 32.
Dude, that's my favorite.
He looks 50.
Yeah, you meet a guy. He's like, man, this guy's been in for a while. It's like I'm 23.
But yeah, he hooked it up for me, and so I sent that email to my professor and was like, hey, sorry I missed the first week of class. I got deployed to Iraq. Like, can I make this stuff up? And he's like, yeah, no worries, dude. Take your time. Like, yeah, just get everything done by the end of the semester.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I got caught up and like submitted my papers. I would go to the computer lab on base and just sit there all night and fucking type papers out. Well,
when I imagine the computer lab, I just think of Jarhead for whatever reason. Was it like Jarhead? There's just like people in there just like typing like.
Yeah, that was me typing, dude. But it was dope, dude. And I used all the resources. There was, I think it was Lieutenant Reed and a couple of others like proofread some of my stuff for me too. Like Lieutenant, different guy. But yeah, like I had a lot of resources of people that were giving me advice and stuff. Reading my papers helped me out too. I'm
sure the officers ate that up.
Yeah, no, they did.
How was the workload with what you were doing?
We weren't doing a whole lot there.
Right.
Like,
do you think you could have normal training tempo and environment back on Bragg?
Yeah, so when I got back, I continued classes through when I got out.
And it was fine?
Yeah, it was some weekends, I sat out, going out with the boys and stuff. But,
yeah, sure.
I mean, again, I was married at the time, so it wasn't like, whatever. But I think it's completely doable. And, again, use the resources. Like, you have your lieutenants they've all gone to college. Most sergeant
Right.
first class and above may have gone to college in today's Army. So, like,
They went to like DeVry University or something.
yeah, but everyone's willing to give help if you ask for it.
That's
It's
cool.
Definitely a lesson I learned there. So.
Do you have any tips for people who are going to be using TA, like getting out? Like they know they're getting out, they're going to be using TA, and then like maybe like bridging that gap?
Yeah, I think just, do it. If you know you want to go to college, it doesn't use any of your GI Bill.
That's huge.
So you can get a head start on some of those like classes. Like, dude, I was doing a finance major, but I was taking like an architecture class, English class, and like a couple math classes. But those classes you don't pay a dime for. I was getting paid money to take those classes through the Pell Grant, and Penn State World Campus has another scholarship for military veterans.
Oh, that's badass.
To use tuition assistance and stuff. So I was getting their scholarship, the Pell Grant, and tuition assistance. Everything was covered. I was getting money sent to me.
Right.
I was making like $1,000 a month, I think.
Damn.
While doing it. So it was,
that's sick.
Yeah, it helped a lot. And I think definitely just, if that's what like, okay, you're going to get out and do it, start.
Yeah.
Might as well get that head start. A lot of your leadership they should be at least pretty helpful with that.
I feel like
understanding. I was pretty blessed with very good leadership my entire time in the Army, I'd say. And, stand up for yourself too.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's important. Like, if you want to do something, do it. But, obviously don't neglect your duties and stuff.
Right.
But take that time, and use your spare time wisely. So,
dude, there is an opportunity for people to get it depends on what you want to do, but like I'm gonna use the example of becoming a doctor.
Yeah,
there's an opportunity for you to get your whole medical school paid for with the military.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying staying in. Like you could do TA, knock out a bunch of your gen eds, get out, use 4 years of your GI Bill on kind of the rest of your gen eds undergrad.
Probably start some post-grad too.
Start some post-grad. Swap over to Voc Rehab, which, by the way, do not ever let your GI Bill completely expire before going to Voc Rehab. You want to wait till you have like a month or two or whatever, more of a buffer, and then swap over to Voc Rehab. That's another 4 years of college that you can get paid for.
What is I'm not even familiar with it. So what is Voc Rehab?
I don't know. We'll have to remind when we get Matt on. We'll have to have him talk about it because he was a good example where I forget exactly why, but he had to basically it's like if you have any sort of disability, I think it's like 10% or more, you automatically qualify for Voc Rehab, and it's very similar to the GI Bill in that you get BAH that pays for your college, and like I'm pretty sure it'll pay for everything. But yeah, it's just basically like another 4 years to get more college. And even if you, like, for instance, engineering degrees, they're 5 years. The GI Bill will cover all 5 years as long as you say that from, like, the beginning, like, I'm doing this. Because the GI Bill, it's 4 years, but it's really to the completion of your degree program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a lot of info.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in our next episode, we'll talk about, like, mental health stuff and some resources with that.
Yeah.
But
and I mean too, like our whole goal with this is to be a place for people to kind of like come to ask questions. Send us any questions you got. We'll do some research too. But our main goal is to try to connect people with mentors and stuff that can help.
Yeah.
We try to stay connected with a lot of buddies from the military that are doing a lot of different things. So if you have a plan or you want to do something and, you're looking for someone to offer advice, connect with us and we'll see who we can, if we know someone we can connect you with.
Yeah.
Follow us on social medias. Instagram.
Let's see if Instagram's still banned. We immediately got banned on Instagram.
I think we talked about that a little bit in the last episode, but Griffin made the account, put a profile picture that
password.
Probably wasn't part of the community guidelines. And
you're just me hanging out with my dog.
Should probably change that before we request to be unbanned. But
we'll figure it out. We'll figure out the Instagram. But biggest thing, comment on like the YouTube, and if you like want to see specific stuff or hear about specific things, because like we can get some people on that like went to a private school. Because like for me, Duke, my GI wouldn't have covered Duke, but like Yago, he went to Columbia, which is even more expensive. Had his GI Bill, and then he had, I think, some other stuff, and he was able to cover the vast majority of. He got like an Ivy League education for like, I don't know, $30,000 or something. I think he may have paid out of pocket, but
and let us know too what you want to hear. Like we're doing this for us. Like I mean, I'm sure we'll cover that in the mental health episode coming up. But like for us, this is just an outlet for us to just hang out and talk and you know, bullshit and build a community here. So let us know what you want us to do and hear, and what we can do better too. So
all right, let's close it out with the conspiracy.
All right.
Okay.
We learned from last week that Griffin's going to be doing the conspiracies. All
right, so this one is kind of this is what, March 15th, the Ides of March, as they say. Julius Caesar was assassinated like 3,000 years ago.
Is that the conspiracy?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure that happened.
I've just been reminding people of what happened.
Do you know what March 14th is, by the way?
Yeah,
it's a national holiday.
National Dork Day.
No, dude.
Pie Day.
Yes, that, but what else is it?
I don't know.
Dude. National Steak and Blowjob Day, dude.
Damn.
It's a month after Valentine's Day. Like some dude on Reddit probably fucking made this holiday. And
shout out to that guy.
Yeah.
All right. This conspiracy is basically that aliens are not aliens from another planet. They're time travelers, potentially even humans from the future. So basically, it's the plot of Interstellar. All right.
I've seen this movie.
yeah. All right, so the theory argues that advanced technology attributed to aliens might actually be future human technology. If humans developed the ability to travel through time, they could hypothetically go back in time to observe or interact with their ancestors. That does not sound like a good idea. Some proponent of this theory points to the alien encounters and abduction stories as evidence. That doesn't seem like great evidence.
It's their ancestors, dude.
Yeah. They speculate that these alien visitors could be humans from the future using advanced technology to study their past. They might appear to us as aliens because they are far more advanced than we are, both technologically and biologically.
Okay.
Unusual behavior. Yeah, they got weird behavior and all that stuff. And if you really think about it, autism is becoming very prevalent these days.
You just got our whole show canceled.
We're gonna get demonetized.
That one line right there, dude. Damn it, dude.
I'm pro.
We were doing so well.
I'm pro spectrum. I'm on the spectrum, so I can say that. But no, if you think about it, though, like aliens, they're like short, gray, weird-looking people.
Okay.
And I'm separating this from autism. Let's just bifurcate. I'm not saying that the autistic people are short and look weird, but anyways. In the future, they're gray. Like they could be like we could have like advanced ourselves with genetics and stuff to the point where it's like, because they say a lot of these aliens don't have mouths, they don't have genitalia, they don't have ears and shit.
What is where are we?
I'll land this plane.
Okay.
I'll land this plane.
Okay.
Basically, is that like the theory goes that we have like so far into the future we don't need genitalia because we can make test tube babies. And that we don't need to talk, so we don't need mouths anymore, because we have like telepathy from like Elon Musk's fucking Neuralink and shit.
Okay.
And basically, a couple, 1,000 million years in the future, we're gonna look way different than we did, in the future. And then now, like, they're time traveling back to do whatever. I don't know why they would want to come back.
Have you seen the time travel thing reminded me. Have you seen the conspiracy theory about Barron Trump?
Yes.
Traveling back in time, dude. That one, like, There's a whole book.
There's that book about it. Yeah.
And I was like, that's wild.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't necessarily believe in alien interactions though. So like,
yeah, I gotta see it to believe it. But
I'm gonna throw a hole in this of if that's the case, why do so many like alien interactions talk about like people getting probed?
Maybe maybe
they're studying.
They're like massive perverts, you know. You get so far in the future, you lose your genitalia. You got to do some weird. You get into weird shit. You know, think about it. Every kink has been played out thousands of years in the future. So you have to go. Now you're such a pervert. You're time traveling to probe people in the butt.
That's okay. That's solid logic. I can't argue that.
I mean, I don't. Who knows though? You know what I mean? But yeah, I've been getting hit pretty hard on my Instagram with the Barron Trump shit about how like, I guess there's another one, Kai Trump, the girl. Yeah.
That's what Donald Trump Jr.'s daughter.
Yeah.
Right?
And how like, this is what made me delete Instagram, but it was like, why does Kai? It's like, you know those AI voices.
Yeah.
It's like, why does Kai Trump never interact with Barron Trump? They're never seen embracing. Blah 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 blah. They always stand 6 feet. What happened between them?
Isn't Barron Trump technically her uncle?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like the same age, or she might be older.
She thinks she's older.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about, but yeah, it's hilarious, dude. It's like, who fucking cares?
Dude, I deleted social media too, but the amount of stuff out there that is just insane. But people connect those dots, and it kind of makes it entertaining to listen to, because like you can see their thought process, and you're like, okay, that would be fucking insane.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's getting enough traction to be on your Explore feed.
Yeah.
Which isn't saying much.
Or they just know I'm fucking stupid and will click on it and be like, huh.
Yeah.
Let me put some actual thought into that. So
why is Barron Trump not standing close to his cousin? his cousin. Wait, his cousin niece.
His cousin niece.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I could see the train of logic behind that conspiracy, but I don't know if I'm an alien believer. So
yeah,
until they come to me and tell me what's up. But.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, please share this podcast with some friends, and
shout outs.
Call a homie this week, catch up. Even if you don't share this podcast, just check in with your homies. Say what's up.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.
Like it, unlike it, then like it again. I think that does something, but
I don't know. I don't know how algorithms work, but whatever the algorithm needs, do it.
Yeah.
All righty. We'll see you all next week.
Peace.